It's finally happening. So I've been wanting to do this video, read this series for a really long time, and you know, I am ready. I'm so ready for it to become my entire personality for a little while. Finally, we are reading the ACOTAR series. I am so excited. Like, I'm so excited to be in on all of the inside jokes that I see on Instagram. And like, I still laugh at them because like, I kind of know some of the stuff, but I don't know all of it. And I don't know the tiny bits and pieces of the inside jokes. So I'm just really excited to be in on all of that, as well as to read the entire series, because it's just so hyped and everybody talks about how great this series is. I'm just really, really excited. I have never read anything by Sarah J. Maas before either. So I'm just also excited that this is gonna be my first thing that I read by her, which is also the thing that everybody recommends that you do read first. So I'm just so excited, okay? Like, it's finally happening. So let me get the first one out because I know that it's actually really hard to get these books out. I've tried once before. I am so excited to start this, and I haven't read a fantasy in so long, and I'm just so excited. The excitement cannot be contained. Okay, it doesn't seem like I'm that excited right now. Physically, in my whole body, I am. Okay, I promise. I don't think I need to talk about what this series is even about because everybody knows. Everyone and their mom knows what this series is about, so I don't think I need to talk about it. It's more gonna be just like live reaction reading vlog style of reading this because I'm just so excited. I just know everybody talks about it and hypes it up, and I'm just so excited to read it. Hello you guys, it's the next day, and I want to give you a little update. I am 221 pages in, which is probably like about halfway. Yeah, probably about halfway. I haven't been like annotating or anything, but I made like little tabs, parts of the book that I wanted to kind of go back to and like reference later for the video or something if I wanted. They were like good moments, but also they were like things that I kind of thought were funny. So I just wanted to be able to go back and like talk about them. Okay, so a little disclaimer. I kind of know what happens before I read it. I kind of knew what happened just because of like friends who had read it and book talk and like TikTok and everything like that. Like, I got a lot of things spoiled because I spoiled it myself. It's not like somebody accidentally spoiled it for me. So I kind of know what happens, and I'm obviously not going to say anything because for other people who haven't read it yet, I don't want to spoil anything. I know what happens with like the love interest with this book. And the best way for me to describe it, because I'm at the point where I'm like, oh my god, like he seems great and you like him and stuff. And I know everybody says this. Everybody says like they didn't get it either. They're like, oh, I don't understand, like what's so wrong or whatever. And then I know you get to a certain point of the book and then you're like, oh, okay. I haven't gotten to that point of the book yet, but considering I know what happens, the best way for me to describe it, to give nothing away but also kind of tell you that I know what's coming, it's like the second time you watch Frozen, right? And you see Anna falling for Prince Hans, and you're like, stop it. No, because you know. That's what I feel like is going on right now. Like, that's literally the best way, is like watching Frozen for the second time. Other than that, I am enjoying it. I will say, maybe it's just because of how hyped it was and like how much everyone talks about it. I'm kind of reading it and I'm kind of like not as interested or like into it as much as I thought I was gonna be. Like right now, like at the halfway mark, it's really picked up where like certain things have happened and I've gotten like more drawn into the story. But there was just like a lot of nothing going on, but also a lot of like stuff that was happening, but like nothing happening that seemed like it was moving the story forward, if that makes sense. So it was a lot of boring stuff going on, and that's the best way I could describe it. But I am enjoying it. I am halfway through. I'd really like to basically get the book done tomorrow, I'd say. I think like I can get a good chunk of it done tonight, also finish it tomorrow. Like I think that I could probably do that. I don't think this is the best one in the series. I think everybody talks about Akhmoff being the best one, which I'm pretty sure is the second book, right? Yes, the second book. I obviously clearly need to get through this one so that I know I can get to that one. So on another note, what I'll say is I'm actually really impressed with like the writing, because not cringy or like hard to understand. Like they're actually like kind of easy flowing, getting into and understanding. Like it's not a hard world to grasp what's going on. Her writing is also just really good. How old is Sarah J. Maas? She's 37. She's 10 years older than me. I don't know if that's accurate though. I don't believe that. With everything I hear about the Throne of Glass series also being amazing, and that was like 10 years ago almost at this point. So if she was 37, that means she was 27 when that series started, which is crazy because she's really good, really good. And I've heard that Throne of Glass is also really good. So that means at that age, she was also writing stuff like this, and it was still absolutely amazing. I just blabbed on about nothing for a good while. I'm gonna go read. I'm very excited. I really want to finish it because I really want to get to the second one, just because everybody talks about how great the second one is. Oh wait, but before I go, maybe let's go back to some of the things I annotated because I thought they were funny. You didn't really see me read anything. So as you guys kind of know, that the first ACOTAR book is basically kind of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. One of the first things I annotated, well not annotated, I just tabbed in the book because I thought it was funny. They were talking about how she was wearing a tunic instead of a dress. And she said, I prefer not to wear a dress. And one of the characters is like, well, why not? And Tamlin was like, because killing us is easier in pants. And I just thought that was funny because he just knew. He was like, yeah, I know what you're doing. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, and then the next thing, what was it? Oh, like, so these are like funny, like weird little compliments that Tamlin gave, being really awkward, that I thought were also funny. He said, you look better than before. And she's like, she was thinking like, was that a compliment? Like, it says Lucian gave Tamlin an encouraging nod. And then it goes, and your hair is clean. Like what a compliment. Thank you. My hair is clean. You're right. Oh yeah, and then the next two things I think I annotated were things that were like sweet, coming from Tamlin, and she was basically kind of just talking about how sad she felt about being gone from her family, which, you know, makes sense because this is Beauty and the Beast retelling, and she was taken to the fairyland. Oh, and then the next one I tabbed was the moment she saw Rhysand for the first time, but you don't know it's him. And so I wanted to like mark that as to like where it was in the book. That's basically where I'm at. I'm on chapter 25, page 221, about halfway through. I'll see you guys later. No, it was more of like, I don't want you to make noise.
Hey guys, it's Taylor. How you doing?
Okay, please stop. Little update from yesterday. I am now at page 328 and I am literally almost done. Who is calling me? I am so excited because it has gotten so good. Before, I was kind of like thinking that like maybe it's not gonna live up to the hype that everybody talks about, but now I'm at the part where I'm like, oh my god, it's so good. Like right now, it's so much higher stakes than before. Before, it was kind of like a whole bunch of nothing but like little things were happening, and it wasn't like as high of stakes, but it was obviously high stakes for her because she's a human and everybody else is not. But now it's even higher and it's so good. Really entertaining, really fast paced now. I think I'm gonna like finish this. I'm gonna really try and finish this tonight, then move on to the next one. I am really, really excited for the romance that comes in the next one. I'm gonna finish this. You can pour your cereal now.
Finished up?
All done.
Wow. 2 steps.
stars, 3 stars?
I don't know yet. I think it's gonna be like 4 stars. I have to think about it. But it was very good. I liked it very much. The ending was very much a closed ending, which I mean, like, there's obviously room for more books because there is more, but it doesn't leave me like wanting to read the next book, which I'm going to. I mean, I want to. I know there's a next one, so obviously I'm gonna read it. But it's not like, oh, here's a cliffhanger so that you have to like be on your toes for the next book, if that makes sense. But very good. Very, very excited. Okay, if you hear like chomping in the background, it's Bailey. She's chewing on one of her toys. But it's been a little bit since I've updated you. I'm about like a quarter of the way through, not even a quarter, like 20%-ish. Oh, actually maybe a quarter. I'll give it a quarter. Through A Court of Mist and Fury. And let me tell you, I am getting to the good part. Like, I am just before the good part. Like, there's stuff that's happening that I'm like, I know it's coming. Like, the good stuff is coming. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I haven't seen like too many Instagram spoilers or anything like that for it to really give away what goes on in the book. But I'm aware of like certain things. Like, there are things that I know that I'm like looking for and I'm like waiting for. I'm currently on page 215. My life worked the way I wanted it to. I would probably have had this series finished already. Cause if I had like infinite amount of time and didn't have to go to work or do schoolwork, this series would be finished. Like, I would be all day, every day reading to get this series done. I am hooked. Let me tell you, I have not stopped thinking about these characters and I'm obsessed. I'm literally obsessed. Like, I know that this one's gonna be really good. Like, this book, I know I've heard so many people say that it's their favorite book and that it's really good. I'm really hoping that it's gonna be like that for me as well. Because if this isn't my favorite book, then I don't know what's gonna be. It's possible that I might not have one, but I don't wanna jinx that. I don't wanna say that. I'm still in that phase of the book where like Tamlin's still not horrible. Like, I don't hate him like everybody else does. And I'm kind of just like waiting and waiting to see like what's gonna happen. Like, what does he do that makes everybody like hate him with like a passion? There are parts of things like in the first one and even in this one where like I understand where the dislike comes from, and like, but I also see what he was doing and being like, okay, I could see how like what he was doing wouldn't have come across as that in his perception, because he was just doing what he thought was right. And I really hope I'm not giving away spoilers, but he was just really like kind of doing what he thought was right, especially at the time. But then there were certain things like after, obviously, that like happened in this book that I was kind of like, oh no, that's pretty shitty. But like, I still don't hate him, so I'm kind of like waiting to see what's gonna happen, to see like if I'm gonna hate him or not. We'll see. But let me tell you, Rhysand, I'm a sim for Rhysand. That man literally has the chokehold on me already, and nothing's even happened. There has been nothing. Like, I didn't get it at first. I really didn't get why everybody was so obsessed with Rhysand. But little things are stirring, and the man hasn't even done anything like remotely amazing yet, really. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Rhysand, you know? Okay, I'm gonna read. You guys, this book has gotten so good. Like, I am literally so like drawn into everything that is going on while I'm reading that it's just like, I cannot believe, like, it's so weird because I feel like so much is happening, but also like the story is slowly progressing so that you don't get too far into what's going on for the next book. So like the next book is really gonna like obviously have all this big build up to the, this is building up to like this big thing that's gonna happen in the next one, just based off of the title of the next book, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin. Everything that's going on in this book is really just like prepping for that, but so much is happening, and like so much is also not happening, but so much is still happening in this. So I literally have like that's how like much I have left. Like I have been reading this nonstop. Okay, I am at chapter 50 now, and I'm at page 400 and basically 490, almost 500 pages in. You guys, so good that I am like literally like running out of tabs. Like my tabs is like down to the bare bones. Do you see? The one I've been using, clearly, almost all of them gone. Granted the color, I think the color, oh, it's not the same color. It looks very similar, but I am almost done with it. The book and the tabs, because I've been tabbing like parts that I like really like and would love to go back to. I was like thinking like maybe I'd go back and read some of them, or like go back and like talk about the scenes a little bit in my reactions to them, but I don't know. I don't know because I don't want to like give away spoilers or anything like that. But anyways, like I was saying, about to start reading chapter 50, and I keep seeing all these memes on Instagram about like chapter like 54 or 56, something like that in the 50s. So now I'm just like waiting and anticipating for like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen? Because like I know something, like I know what the base, I think, okay, what am I saying? I'm just too excited. I know the premise of those chapters. Like I know that they're gonna be like more explicit scenes, and they're not like, something else. But Reese, this man, I am obsessed with him. I am obsessed with Reese. I just love him. There's like nothing else to it. I just love him. It's weird to say also, but I still don't hate Tamlin like everybody else does. Like everybody else like hates Tamlin, and he's not even in this book enough for me to really hate him. Like there's things that they talk about that he has done that I could see how like people would hate him, but I don't hate him yet because like there's nothing that he's done present day right now other than, the other big thing that happened in the beginning of the book that like makes me really hate him. Like the other stuff in the past that you find out about, I feel like makes people hate him is stuff he really had almost not a lot of control over. Like he was highly influenced in those decisions as to what he did. I don't know if this helps at all or if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but I really hope that other people feel the same, because like what he did in the past was really highly influenced by other people who were still alive at the time, and he was also younger at the time, so like he just made some stupid mistakes, just kind of like more people do. But he's old, he's an immortal being, so he's not gonna die. So like granted he's not young, but he still was younger and like didn't have a lot of control over his life in a sense at the time. Yeah, there were things that he did do though, and I was just like, alrighty, that's a red flag, you know what I mean? So like I am so excited to finish reading this, but I literally will sit and read for like hours and hours and hours, and I think I'll be able to finish this book today. There's just over 600 pages, yeah, and I'm already at almost 500. I think I'll be able to finish this today if I'm lucky, because I'm obsessed. I really am obsessed. Now, if I get to the chapter that everybody keeps talking about, or that I keep seeing like memes about on Instagram, I'll have to film an update or my reaction or something like that. I'll make sure I do that. I'm so excited. I just had to tell you all that. I just had to update because Rhysand, I'm a simp for Rhysand, honestly. Like this man. And Feyre, like, I don't know. He's just, love him. Okay, sorry for this horrible lighting. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. My dog has hiccups also, so if you hear squeaking, that is her. I just finished A Court of Mist and Fury. Oh my god. Oh my god, so good. The ending really like had me in a chokehold. I was like, oh my god, like I was like anxiety driven. I was like, oh my god, what is gonna happen? So good. Again, I don't know what I'm gonna rate them yet. I still haven't decided on what I was gonna rate the first book. So I don't know what I'm gonna rate this one, so I can't really tell you yet, but I actually loved this one. This one is so good. And I know this one's everyone's favorite. I have a feeling it'll probably end up being my favorite. It was like a whole bunch of build up, but there was like so much detail and so much information in it as well. I really want to start the third one now, but part of me is like, you shouldn't do that because you have stuff to do today. You're not gonna get anything done if you do that. Maybe I will, even though I shouldn't. So good, so good. Also, I want to say it's chapter 55 that everybody is talking about, I think. That is like the more like spicy scene. And it's very good. It is a very good chapter in that sense. Like, I get it. I really do. I didn't film any reaction to it, obviously, but I was like blushing the whole time. But I tabbed so much of the book. All of it though is Rhysand. Just so you know, all of it is Rhysand. I don't think there's a tab in here that doesn't have to do with him because he is just incredible and funny and amazing. And I just love him. And I love him and Feyre. And that's just it. That's just it. You guys, I literally do not think I've updated you since I started this book. I'm almost done. Like, I think I have like maybe just over 100 pages left. This book has been like so action-packed, like so much stuff has been going on, and I'm like glued. Like, I am like so glued to the book when I'm actually reading it. Like, Feyre is just like wild, okay? Like, the amount that she has been able to do within this book and just the series in general, like the amount that she's evolved is actually insane. Like, so amazing. Oh my gosh. I think the last thing I said was that I still didn't hate Tamlin when I was talking about in ACOTAR. Let's just say opinions have changed. He, in this book, savage. He was a savage, okay? For those of you who have read this book, you know what I'm talking about. You know what part I am talking about when this man literally went completely savage. I was like, who are you? Excuse me. He was just such a savage. Anyways, yeah, so no longer a Tamlin fan, and that's fine. Let's see. We'll see if he makes a comeback, because not that I'm rooting for him, because I'm not in really any way, but I want him to like make a turnaround, you know? I want him to be a better person. I feel like he deserves that, you know? He deserves the turnaround of being a good person. Just, you know, mixed up in some bad shit. But anyways, yeah, I have literally 100 pages left. I don't know like what I'm gonna do, because I know the series obviously doesn't stop with this. The novella that comes after, I don't think much really happens. Yeah, I don't think a lot really happens in this one. Like much really can't happen. It's only like 200 pages. Yeah, it's only 200 pages. So not much can happen. And I know it's meant to like kind of turn the story to Nesta's point of view, I think, because Nesta's book is the next one in the series, like the big one. Also, actually, I don't know. I want to say some things, but I don't want to give anything away, because I mean, even if you haven't read the book, I'm sure you know that Feyre's sisters are not the best. They low-key kind of suck. I guess we'll see. Anyways, that's my update. I literally don't think I've updated you in so long. I haven't been tabbing this one as much as you can see, but like nothing compared to, you know, ACOTAR, where so many things happened that I was just like, oh my gosh, I just want to be able to flip back and read some of these pages and some of these passages because of how much I love Rhys. You know, I love him. I'm obsessed. That's all I have to say. I would die for Rhys, is what I'm saying. I would die for him. it has actually been a few days since I finished this book, but I finished ACOTAR. Honestly, I absolutely loved this book. It was so entertaining. Like, it was so fast paced. There was always like something going on. And like, this is the longest book I've ever read. Like, this book I think is over maybe just 700 pages. Yeah, it's literally 699 pages. That is, to date, the longest book I have ever read. It was amazing. It was so good. Like, it was just so entertaining. And like, I'm almost positive though, like this book almost like ends the like Feyre Rhysand story, because I know that the novella like follows multiple characters' points of views, and then A Court of Silver Flames is Nesta's point of view. So I think that this basically ends Feyre and Rhysand's like journey in a sense, but I know that they're in the other ones, so it doesn't, but it ends it from Feyre's point of view and like their beginning and their story. So that's kind of exciting, you know, to start anew. Yeah, so I haven't started A Court of Frost and Starlight, and honestly, I need to take a little bit of a break from reading this series because it's just like so much. Like, there's just like so much information and like depth to the books, and like granted, I read both of these books like within the first like 2 weeks of September. This one's probably about a book and a half, and this one is 2 books in one basically. So like, and I just really want to read some of my other books. Like, I'm actually leaving this one so that like it puts me back in the mood to start reading it again, because I know a lot of people, they end up start reading A Court of Silver Flames, and then I think they like stop reading because they just like, they don't like Nesta. And truthfully, so far I don't really like Nesta, but I don't know. But this one's like huge. This is huge, okay? Okay, this one's 750 pages. So this one, when I read it, will be the longest book I have ever read. And I just want to like go through it at like a nice pace, but also like reading other stuff in between. Like, there's a lot. Like, there's a lot in this. That's the update on that. Hello, you guys. Let me just adjust that. I am officially back to reading the ACOTAR series. I had decided beforehand that I was gonna stop before this one so that like bring me back into the ACOTAR world. I'm only, how many pages? I am 86 pages in, and I really like it so far. I mean, there's not much to say about it. It is a novella. I think this is kind of just like really wrapping up Feyre and Rhys's like stories essentially, and like moving it on to Nesta's point of view, which is kind of nice because we get a little bit of Cassian, and I know that A Court of Silver Flames is Cassian and Nesta's point of views. So yeah, I feel like this is a good like little transition because, like I said, I wanted to be in the world again in like a book that I like, because I don't really like Nesta, you know? Like, I like her to a point, but like I don't really like her. So I feel like reading this one to get me back into it is good. Currently reading this, and I like it. It's nice. It's a nice little change of pace. It's like, so far, because it's a novella, nothing is really gonna happen, and it's just really slow paced, not high stakes, just kind of like a cozy fantasy, which is perfect for fall time. So I'm so glad that this is the one I'm reading now. I will update you guys along the way. A little update. I think I finished A Court of Frost and Starlight 2 days ago. I don't remember. Yeah, I ended up finishing it and I really liked it. It was just like a nice little re-entry back into the ACOTAR universe. I know a lot of people aren't like a fan of Nesta or Nesta's point of view, but I don't like not like her, if that makes sense. Like, when in ACOTAR, she was definitely a lot more like tolerable. I don't know. I guess I'll just have to like wait and see what's in store for A Court of Silver Flames. In this, like, she really wasn't in this. So yeah. But anyways, I really enjoyed it. I don't have much to say about it. It's pretty small. It's like less than 200 pages. I'm really excited though to go into the last and final book, which is obviously A Court of Silver Flames. This will be legitimately the biggest and longest book I have ever read. I'm really excited about that, and to be able to accomplish that. I'm also super excited because she did just announce, as I'm filming this, she is working on the next ACOTAR book, so I'm really hoping that like this keeps me like entertained and engaged to like want to continue the series, because I feel like a lot of people like DNF, A Court of Silver Flames. If they don't, they just like don't like it as much as the rest of the series, which I'm really, really hoping that like doesn't happen, and that it still keeps my interest and that like still makes me fall in love the rest of the series. Also really, really excited because then it gets me into more of the Sarah J Maas universe, which is I'm so excited for. I cannot wait to eventually read like A Throne of Glass and Crescent City. Another thing though that I want to say before I actually start reading this, I'm thinking I'm gonna read this kind of like in spurts. It is a big book. It is really long, so I think I'm gonna like take my time reading it. I don't think I'm gonna like really just like rush through it. I think I'm gonna pace myself because I really, really, really want to like soak this in and like really, really enjoy it. Yeah. Hello, you guys. It's actually been a while since I updated you about me reading this. So I've actually started A Court of Silver Flames. I am 169 pages in already, and I really haven't been reading it that long. I think I've picked it up every few days and just like read in the morning, sometimes in the evening for like an hour or so. I didn't think I was gonna like Nesta's point of view or anything like that, or like be so interested in it, but I'm actually really enjoying it so far. Like I actually really, really enjoy seeing a different side, the Fae world and like Valeris and the other characters, because before all you really got was Feyre's point of view and like sometimes you got Rhys's point of view. This is really told more in like third person Nesta point of view and like third person Cassian point of view, so it's not like it's legitimately Nesta's point of view where like you're reading it and she's like talking, like you can hear her inner thoughts and like talking about herself, but it's more of like the narrator is like it's like from Nesta's point of view and she's like, you know, like what she's experienced. Does that make sense? It doesn't actually. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's told from more of a third person point of view. But yeah, I like did not think I was going to be enjoying it as much as I am. I actually really, really like it. And like I would continue to read it like continuously, but the only issue is like that it is so long that like I really could not read other books that I need to read for like other videos if I continued reading this book. Like I would have to like live and breathe read this book if I wanted to be able to get through other ones as well, which I don't necessarily like doing. Like I don't really like reading more than one book at once unless I'm like reading it on my Kindle. It's just like so much easier to balance than like two physical books. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, that I really enjoyed this book so far, and I'm like pleasantly surprised. I know I haven't like updated much since reading it or anything like that, and I haven't gotten too far, obviously. Like I said, I'm only 169 pages in and on chapter 15, and like this is a brick. Like you can see where I'm at right now compared to the rest of the book that I have left. Yeah, I would literally have to live and breathe this book if I wanted to like finish it within like a few days. But yeah, the point of me coming on here was to tell you that I am very much enjoying this book and I'm excited to continue reading it, and I'm excited to like share my thoughts throughout it. I'm really bad about like not spoiling things. I feel like I say things that don't seem like they're spoilers, but I think that they are. So I'm gonna really, really try hard, and I'm gonna really try and update throughout while reading this, because I feel like I didn't do that much within this video. This is so different compared to the other ones, I feel like, just because it is Nesta's point of view. But yeah, I actually really enjoy it so far because, and I haven't even said why, well, I have said why I'm enjoying it. I don't know. I'm just rambling here, okay? Enjoy seeing Nessa's point of view and like her thoughts about things and like part of the reason as to why she is the way she is. And it's kind of more of like she's always been that way, but then there's things more obviously in recent years that have happened throughout the books as to why she is more so the way she is, like more cold and distant and pushing people away compared to like before. Because before in the other books you didn't really get much explanation as to why she was the way she is. Like you kind of got some, but you didn't really get any. This one you're getting like way more, which is cool, and I kind of like seeing, because she's a very unlikable character. I feel like Sarah J Maas really, at least so far in what I've read, Sarah J Maas like really like tries to humanize her, I feel like, in this one, and like really see like the faults in her, like that they're not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. So I will update you next when I start reading. Hello, you guys. I don't think I ever updated you guys anytime during reading A Court of Silver Flames, but I did actually finish it. You know what? I loved this way more than I thought I was going to. I don't know why people put this one off for so long. Well, like, I can understand why, because at the same time, I was like, I didn't want to read it right away either, just because it is so much, and it's just like, it's a thick book. Like, this is a brick. So I completely understand as to like why people would put this off, but honestly, I loved this book. Like, it was like, I didn't realize how much I actually really enjoyed it while I was reading it. Have really come to find that I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I actually, the other day, wait, what was it the other, no, it was last night. Last night, I actually like came to terms with the fact that like I wasn't reading about these characters anymore, at least for not a little while, because I know Sarah J Maas is working on the next book for the ACOTAR universe. But yeah, it hit me, like, for some reason, like, in my brain, I just thought about like, oh, I'm gonna be reading about like Cassian and Nesta, and then I was like, wait a second, no, I'm not, because I finished it. And it was just like such a sad like realization, because I was like, oh my god, I'm not going to be reading about these characters anymore. Like, I genuinely miss them. Like, I miss all of the characters from the entire series. Like, and it was such a weird thing to like be like, oh my god, because I didn't realize how much I actually enjoyed this series as much as I did. I can't believe how much I enjoyed, especially this one. Like, I really did not think I was going to enjoy this book as much as I did. Here I am, like, missing the characters and like missing the story, whereas like this one, I feel like there wasn't much of like a big storyline or a big plot line. It was mostly just about like Nesta and Cassian's relationship, as well as Nesta's character redemption for probably like future installments of the series. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it right now. I am gonna send this off to a future version of me to do my final thoughts of the entire series, and probably a little bit more in depth of every book individually. I think this angle will be good. Cool. Hello, future Taylor here. Finally here to tell you about her final thoughts and feelings on the ACOTAR series. And I'm actually kind of like just in luck with filming and editing this video. First of all, finally, considering it's been months, okay? Because my one friend actually, she just started reading the series. I'm a little bit more refreshed because she had mentioned some of the stuff that would go on in the series that I actually forgot about, that I'm like, oh yeah. Anyways, I'm here to talk about my final thoughts and feelings on the ACOTAR series. The series as a whole, 100% a 5-star series. This series is so entertaining, so gripping. The romance, love. The romance in this is like superb. And the spice, chef's kiss, also superb. I absolutely loved reading this series and reading about these characters and like just following them. I had mentioned, I think in the video as well, that like once I finished the series, I was kind of like sad that I wasn't reading about them anymore and that I missed them. And this is still true. I am gonna say this straight up though. It's not my favorite fantasy series. Like, I really do like it and really like love it, and I would absolutely love to go back and reread this series eventually, but it's definitely not my favorite. It was my personality for a little bit, but like definitely not as like long as like another fantasy series has been. I did love it, but I don't like go back and think about this series as a whole as much as I do other ones. I'm gonna try and be like so quick with my final thoughts and feelings on this entire series. I don't want to like drag this video out too long because the video is already taken me forever to even get up there. So I'm gonna try and do this quick, okay? Let's start with the first one, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses. First book, obviously, in the series. This one drags. Okay, it's definitely not until the last like 60-70% of the book where it actually starts to get entertaining, which obviously you saw me talk about in the video. That I didn't really love. I was kind of like disappointed in that aspect, but once everything started to really pick up, I very much enjoyed this book. I don't remember a lot from this book, honestly. I remember the things that happened at the end that make the book a lot more interesting, but I don't remember a lot of like the beginning stuff. Like I remember the main beginning I remember the the main beginning part, which is why she gets sent to Prithian, or why she gets taken to Prithian by Tamlin, because this is basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and then she has to go through everything that she goes through at the end of the book. I ended up rating this one, I think, a 3.5 stars. Like, I wasn't overall that impressed with it, but the ending I really, really loved. I gave it 3.5 stars. Next up, we have the second book, which is definitely my favorite in the series, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury. This one definitely picks up. This one like picks up the story like so well, and like the beginning just like kind of draws you in because of what happens at the end of ACOTAR. This one like really brings you in. So like I said before in the video, I knew more about certain things going into the series in general. So like I knew certain characters, relationships, and like some of the storyline that happened. I just didn't know like a lot of spoilers. I knew some spoilers. Going into this one, like knowing what was gonna happen, but like not knowing the exact details of like how everything was gonna come to be was what I really enjoyed about this book. So like more of like the small minor details and like the way the character developed and way like all the characters developed and the new characters that you met in this book, like it was just so wonderful. And then this one was like really ramping up and like really setting up everything for the third book. Like this one, so much romance, so much like story and world building, everything that you needed within this book gave it to you, and then still had time, and then still somehow built up everything that was gonna happen in the third book. Like this one left you hanging for the third book. Okay, I absolutely loved this one. If you guys don't know the characters, then it's kind of like a spoiler, but this one follows just Feyre and Rhysand mostly, whereas the first one follows Feyre and Tamlin as in the love story. Yeah, I know like going into it, like you're kind of like hit or miss on some of the characters, and like this one follows Feyre and Rhysand and their journey of falling in love and being together, and I actually really, really enjoyed that. I loved seeing like the turnaround from the last book in both of the characters. It just like made so much sense. Like so many things were explained and so many things were described, like I said before, that like made so much sense as to like everything going into it, and like Feyre being like her own like confident person in a sense, you know what I mean? Like I'm just rambling I think at this point, but like everything that you thought you were going to get in this one gave you. Overall, I gave this one a 5-star rating. Actually, like this one like gave you everything it needed and more. I absolutely loved this one. There's just nothing else to say about it. Next up, we have A Court of Wings and Ruin. This one is so action-packed, let me tell you. Like there was never a dull moment in this book. Everything is either like plotting and planning and strategically like planned out. It's just like so much thought and depth goes into like writing a book like this that like I was thoroughly entertained the entire time. Like this is definitely not my favorite book obviously in the series, but like the amount of entertainment I felt within this book was superb. Sometimes there's like lulls and dull moments, and I know there was a lot of times where like, no, I don't want to say it went over my head, but it was like a lot because of all of like the planning for like the war and everything like that was gonna happen. Thoroughly entertained. Like it was on the edge of my seat the entire time, like very much entertained and very much like driven to get you to an end point. I also feel like this one is what is like the ending of Feyre and Rhys's storyline essentially. The next book, which is the novella, has Feyre and Rhysand in it. It doesn't necessarily like progress their love story. It's just a Christmas special. You know what I mean? That's what I keep calling it now, a Christmas special. This one definitely ends Feyre and Rhysand's like love journey and like all of the struggles and things like that that they had gone through to get to this point and to have the ending that they have. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff that's happened in this book. I think I ended up rating this one a 4 stars. 4 stars, I think. I don't really remember. Like I said, it was very, very action-packed. There was a lot happening. There are certain scenes that I still remember from this book. In this one too, you also get a lot more, I think, of Elaine and Nesta. And Nesta is like tolerable in this one compared to like the other two, I think. And the other two, she was kind of just the worst. Like she was just kind of the worst. In this one, she's definitely a lot more tolerable because of certain events that happened in the second book. Moving on to the little novella, our little Christmas special, which was A Court of Frost and Starlight. This one literally, like there is almost like no plot essentially. The relationships between all of the characters and like stuff that's going on during that time. You get different POVs in this one. You get a little bit more insight into some of the characters. You get get Feyre's, Reese's, Morgan's, and Cassian's. So you get a little bit different perspective on certain things, which is great because you're so only just used to Feyre's point of view, whereas this one you get other people's thoughts and feelings, which is cool. And this is kind of just like to bridge into the most recent one that is released, which is A Court of Silver Flames, because you get a little bit of Nesta and you get some Cassian in here, because obviously A Court of Silver Flames is told from Nesta and Cassian's POVs. I think this book is really just to kind of bridge into this one so it doesn't feel like it's so like out of the blue, like with the way this one starts, because this one gives you a little bit of background into what's to come in this. Anyways, I think I gave this a 3.5 stars. Yeah, I think I gave this 3.5 stars because it wasn't like too spectacular. I mean, it just gave us a little bit more insight. There wasn't much to like go off of, but I still really enjoyed it, still really liked it, and yeah, obviously you should definitely read it in order of the series. Moving on to the last one, which was A Court of Silver Flames, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I enjoyed this book way more than I thought I was going to. So many people hate on Nesta, and I get it, because in the beginning, in the other books, Nesta is the worst. Once you read this one, you really like find that you can find a little bit of yourself in Nesta, like with the way that she like kind of presents herself and who she is. Like honestly, like in the beginning when she's actually the worst, I'm like, that's actually me. I'm a little C word like she is, okay? So Court of Silver Flames follows Nesta's point of view mainly, but it's actually told in the third person. So it's third person POV of Nesta and Cassian. So you do get both of them. You don't get Cassian's too often. It's mostly Nesta's, but this one, Nesta gets such a great character redemption. Oh my God, like the found family that she has in this, like she found her own family, which I absolutely loved. Like I loved the found family in the rest of the series with like Feyre, but it was almost like kind of handed to her in a sense, where Nesta legitimately like formed and forged this family that she has with two other characters that come into play. And it's such a beautiful friendship because these women that she becomes friends with, they all have their own struggles that they have to overcome and that they have to deal with. With what Nesta has to go through in this book, or like what Feyre ends up like making her do, with like the shared struggle of like going through what they all go through and like just trying to become better and just trying to like push through. It's amazing, like the amount of like similarities that they have, and they are able to like have each other while going through this, and like these common struggles that they have to overcome and deal with in their own way, but then also have each other's back and like be these like really strong, independent like people. Whereas before they weren't, like they definitely did not feel that way. So like to see them all in a sense, like in this found family and this like in this story of friendship of like all overcoming this terrible hardships that they all separately have different ones, to come and like be who they are, almost like sacrifice like certain things for this friendship. You know what I mean? Like you would like give up something for this friend because you love them. That was something I absolutely loved in this book. The turnaround in this is so great. And that's not even like Nesta and Cassian's relationship. Nesta and Cassian's relationship is definitely great. It's the spiciest book. Spiciest. Let me just say that really quick. Very spicy. I am gonna start to wrap this up. So I ended up giving this one, I think I gave this one a 4.5 stars. I really loved this book. Like I just was not expecting to love as much as I did. I just feel like there was so much more like girth and depth and darkness to it. Had such a more like, in a sense, entertainment value, but also like reading value when you're reading it and like really connecting with these characters kind of compared to the first few in the book. Like Feyre's great, like love her, she's strong, independent person who overcomes a lot too, but like nothing, I feel like nothing in compared to Nesta. I don't know, it's so weird, it's so, I don't know. Anyways, now those are my thoughts and feelings on the entire ACOTAR series. Like I said, I absolutely loved this series. It's a 5-star series. I 10 out of 10 recommend. Like if you have not read the ACOTAR series yet, you need to. It is such a great way to get into fantasy, especially if you've never read fantasy before. It's very easy to grasp and understand and just really throws you into the world, especially if you are like really heavily into romance and you're not like so heavily into a fantasy yet. Perfect, because this is romantasy, and romantasy at some of its finest, let me tell you. Okay, the only thing I do have to say is that the first one, it does start out really slow, so just push through because the rest of the series makes it worth it. Trust me, she is building for something so much greater within this first book that you don't even like, where you started is not where you end. Yeah, keep that in mind. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so sorry that it was such a long time coming. I definitely teased this video so many times on my channel. The fact that it took me this long to get it up, it was a lot. So I'm very sorry about that. I'm happy that you now finally have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias as well as subscribing to my channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.